Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to start a series called Festive Fridays. Quite often when it gets to this time of year and the Holiday Mini Catalogue debuts, I start to do all my videos using holiday stuff. And I know as crafters we have to start early, but in the middle of August I know. And then once I've started I can't stop. So I think if I have a dedicated time, Festive Friday, to do videos, I'll sort of get my little fix of holidays and Christmas and then still be able to carry on with generic, regular, lovely other stuff out of the catalogue. So I'm going to use this particular 12 by 12 designer series paper pack today, and it's called A Little Bit Festive, but it's a little bit unusual actually. It's got 3 sheets of designer series paper with 2 sides, but designer series paper 2-sided wise, that's it. However, what it also has is a sheet of card layers, and you can see one's already missing, and then oh my goodness, it has got 2 sheets of die cut punch outs with gold foil accents. You can see those shining. I mean, you can see where I've taken them out of. Unbelievable. And the lovely thing about this is you don't have to be an expert stamper. I mean, you can be an expert stamper. I consider myself an expert stamper, and I was excited as anything to find this. But I sometimes think when I began, if someone showed me something, I would sometimes just be a little bit daunted. So the lovely thing about this is it's for any level. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to use this is one of the punch outs, but I'm obviously going to add some of my own, basic supplies to it. So it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, folded in half, which, as you will know, fits into a standard envelope. And then the Mossy Meadow. And then I took a piece of soft sea foam, and it's cut down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and that's going to be our layer. So you know what, I might as well just go ahead and attach it and build these as I do it. Because there's one of everything in the pack, I didn't really get to sort of make a sample. Normally, if you subscribe to my channel and you follow me along regularly, I'll show you what we're going to do, and it goes up in this corner, but I've only got one, and then I wouldn't be able to show you how I did it. So that's the layer put on to the regular base. And I often mention that if you have a dark cardstock, it's advisable to put a lighter piece inside. So what I'm going to do is just bring in my paper trimmer and give you a little tip of how to cut more than you think you can. So we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. Because normally the idea would be to just cut it a layer down, and then you would get 4 out of 1 sheet of cardstock. But if you cut these at 3.5 and at 3.5, and then of course the last one is going to have a little 1/2 inch extra, you're going to get 3 out of one side, and of course 3 out of the other side. And because we're math geniuses, you will realize that you're going to get 6 pieces out of your 1 piece of lighter colored cardstock, and that's quite a nice enough size to pop inside. It's not to scrimp, but again, when I was starting out and I didn't have, a craft room, picked up a little bit of fluffy dirt there, I didn't have a craft room full of packs and packs of things. And when I make my Christmas cards, I make them by the dozen. So it's nice to be able to have something that just can give you a little bit extra. Anyway, so that was a little tip on how to make the inside or get more inside. So 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, 1/6 of a sheet of cardstock to go in. And then I have a piece of real red, and it is 2 inches by 4 3/4, and we are going to make a little banner. And here is a tip for doing that. Let me just move this up so you can see. As it's 2 inches, I'm going to find where the 1 inch side is. Does it have a better side? Yes, it does. So I'm going to do where it's 2 inches and just eyeball a pencil dot. Probably can't see that because it's a pencil dot on a dark piece of cardstock at the 1 inch mark. And then what we do is we just cut from the corner to the dot. And then we cut from the other corner to the dot. And then we get a nice even banner. Ta-da! So we'll go ahead and stick that on. Of course, what I did was I undid my little scratch paper. Just stick it back down in the corners and we'll just line that up in the middle. And then we're going to take one of these awesome die cuts. And actually, I mean, there isn't really an orientation, and then just decide where it's going to be. And the stamp set I'm going to use is Peaceful Season, because it's got lots of lovely Christmas phrases in it. I actually bought it as the bundle, and these are the die, so you can die cut Christmas and you get all these lovely pieces that you can add the greetings to. Of course, you don't have to buy the bundle, but if you do, you get a 10% discount. So today I'm only going to be using the stamp set. So I've already gone ahead and marked those off, and the greeting I'm going to use said, "Friends and family are the true gift of Christmas." I've popped them onto the acrylic block, and I'm going to bring in real red. And just ink it up gently. Decide which way I would like my wreath to orient itself. And then stamp into the middle. And just realized I didn't actually set my little washing station up, so excuse me one quick second while I do that. And then I'm just going to pop that in to get a wash and close the red so I don't get all my fingers, which I feel I've already done. And then what I'm going to do is bring in some dimensionals and just pop a few on the back. If you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, they're always very generous, and most of my dimensionals come from that source, but of course you can buy them in the catalogue. But I love my dimensionals, and I think they're a very easy way to give something a nice lift. So I'm just going to pop those on, and it's already looking rather lovely. But what I wanted to do was add a little bit of bling, and I've brought in the iridescent adhesive backed discs. Now again, I think that's rather lovely. You don't need to do it, but if you've got the opportunity, why would you not take it? So we'll put 2 up there and 1 down here. And there you have it. And these are quite, ooh, did you see that? Bling, bling. Like I'm sending little messages. So that's the first card made. Second card uses this wonderful punch out. That was the one that was in the pack of 6 layers. So what I did was, it's 5 by 3 3/4, and I actually took another piece of basic white 5 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to attach it to that, but I'm going to stamp Happy Christmas on there, and I'm going to do it in the red and the green. So I will bring in the real red again and just sort of eyeball the Merry Christmas. It fits quite tightly, if I'm honest. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's rather rich. But we'll close that one up and bring in Happy. I know it's Merry Christmas, but British people, especially in the north of England where I come from, we do tend to say Happy Christmas. So we'll just give that a good inking, and there we go. We've got a nice Happy Christmas. I think it's in one of the John Lennon songs where he says Happy Christmas, and Elton John, because I'd have people say to me, it's Merry Christmas. Well, depends where you come from. But when it's a season of goodwill, it's not the time to argue with folk, is it? So again, I'm just going to pop a few dimensionals onto the back of the die cut out part. And peel those off. Oops. Now here's a funny thing. The piece that's missing out of here, I've kept, and I'm actually going to pop it on the inside. It looks like a very enthusiastic way to greet someone on the inside of your card. So the trouble with this is trying to match it up without getting my head in the shot, because the top of Alyson's head is not as exciting as a Christmas project. So it's just got a little bit of a lift, which I thought was rather lovely. While I've got this out, actually, I'll just go ahead and stick it in, because waste not, want not. I thought that was quite funny. And then, you know, you could put things at the edges so it looked like it was being held down. And then pop this on. And what I wanted to do was, they've got lovely gold dots, little embellishments in the Holiday Mini Catalogue, and I thought I would just use some of those to try and give it a little bit of bling. So they're quite funny. They're like little glass dots. They're not faceted or anything, but I think they're a lovely colour. So again, rule of three, as they say, don't they? So we'll put the big one and the little one there, and then a medium one can go over to this side. So there you go, a lovely little card with a fancy bling on the inside. So that's two. To be honest, when I opened up this pack, I was a little bit blown away. I was like, wow. I didn't really know sort of what to do or how to do it. So this one, we're going to use a piece of Granny Apple Green, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, but we're going to put it landscape. And then the white piece is just 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm actually just going to stick that on. I'm not going to put any dimensionals on it, because the dimensionals will be going on the little punch out bits that we're going to attach. So I'm going to put the tree there and the gifts there, but what I want to be sure I do is to again put the Merry Christmas on, and I don't want to overdo it. Technically, should have done that before I committed it to the front of the cardstock. So we'll just put Christmas in a lovely bright red. Gosh, do you know that is like so red? It's whew. And then bring in the Granny Apple Green, because it will coordinate with the cardstock. And again, we will be awfully British, darling, and we will say Happy Christmas, because to be honest, it's the sentiment of the greeting. It's not really the words that you use to convey it. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, just because I've got a little narrow piece and I don't want there to be any stickiness goes onto my work surface. So we'll pop the tree across to the edge, and then the gifts I am going to pop up on some dimensionals. I'm just going to put another one there, and then it will just give it a little bit of extra. So if you haven't stamped for very long, this is a great way. I mean, I would highly recommend investing in this A Little Bit of Festive, or a little bit of, do you know, I've completely forgotten what it's called. It's called A Little Bit Festive, not of festive. I think it's a lot festive myself, but there you go. So you've now got the gold foil, which shines nicely. It's got the Happy Christmas matches with the reds and the greens. And to be honest, because this has got all that lovely blinging, which I'm sure you can see in the light, I'm not even going to add any extra sequins or little doodads. I think that one's quite lovely as it is. And then last but not least, there are some stockings hanging in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to, there's a little bit of pool party, like a little bit of frostiness. So I decided I would do pool party for this one. Again, it's always 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, but I'm going to do it landscape. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp the Happy Christmas. Just need to make sure that my let me just stamp it on the back of there, make sure there's no red residue coming off. So we'll give it its best whirl. So we'll just do a pool party Christmas. Oh, that's rather lovely. And then we'll do the happy in red, I think, this time. And off to one side. And then I'll attach this to the front of the card because I'm going to use dimensionals, and it's actually easier to stick a flat piece flatly, flatly, to the front. So I'll bring in the dimensionals, and then what I'm going to do is actually fasten down. These are rather large, so I'm actually just going to snip those in half for the top area. There are mini dimensionals, but I didn't lay any out to use, so we'll just put little half ones on, and they will help it stick but not take it over, because I wanted to be able to fasten down. So this catalogue is going to go live in the beginning of September, and if you haven't got one, and if you haven't got a demonstrator who will get one to you and you would like one, please just let me know, and I'll be absolutely more than happy to get you one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten down the edges of the greenery, because I thought that would be quite fun. And I'm going to use these lovely gems. They're called Faceted Gems Trio Pack, because they come in all the colours and they're nice and big enough that you can just grasp them. So I'm obviously going to use the pool party one and stick that down. And there you have it. So out of that A Little Bit Festive, we've got a lovely pool party card, which is light enough. It doesn't really need the extra white inside. We've got this lovely Christmas one with all its bling. We've got the one with the lights where it's lifted up on the dimensionals. And we've got the first one with the lovely reflective pieces, again with a little die cut out. So I think that's a really lovely selection, to be honest. All the directions and dimensions, as always, will be on my blog, so you can pop on over there and see what they are. If you've got any questions or comments, put them in the box below. I always like to answer everybody. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.